talk about the study design metadata representation and its review at Shire. I'm going to talk about the clinical standards governance model implemented at Shire, the evolution of Shire's rare disease standards, the metadata review toolkit, and the benefits of metadata library. At Shire, one of the first foremost things we had to do was to get a buy-in from our executive leadership team on the concept of the governance model. This helped us to set up the governance model, which has both the clinical standards board as well as the clinical metadata standards working group. The clinical standards board consists of senior leadership from cross-functional areas, and they were the proponents of early adoption of standards for the developing programs for rare diseases. The clinical metadata standards working group is also a cross-functional group, and they are mainly there to define standards. Not only do they define standards, but they review the draft CDISC standards that is being sent, and every quarterly sent, or we are also part of the working groups, so that we do review that and we give feedback back to the CDISC user groups, as well as we implement it within our own environments. We have a portal which is from where we also distribute the approved standards, so that the cross-functional teams can easily get to the standards. This has helped us to easily make sure that every functional area gets to the standards very easily. It also helps us to be transparent on how our working group as well as the board works. It consists of both the agenda as well as the minutes that way it helps on what we are discussing for our particular company. This is a brief description of how we came to and how a metadata library was first created. We had to first prioritize the programs that we were initially thinking of in the rare disease space. We selected the program with the largest footprint, and then we had to come up with a toolkit which was helpful to analyze the data and come up with standards. So on the right, you can see that this particular program had studies in multiple EDC systems, and the EDC systems consist of extended ODM. Some of them were capable of SAS data sets, and so we had to take this particular program and we had to get all the information, and we got difference report. This difference report is nothing but knowledge base that was very helpful for the team to review initially, because they had to come to know about what how the studies previously was designed, so that they could easily get. As we got as we were very comfortable with the information present in the difference report, it became less and less useful. So then we moved to a more conceptual type of reports, which was based off of Excel. So one of the things we found about is, like, once we got and we started putting together the standards, we started thinking about how do we distribute the standards to the functional areas, because Excel also has some limitations where you cannot compare different versions of these standards. It's very hard for us to communicate to the functional areas. So we went with a word-based tabular specification, which was easier for everyone to easily comment on, to review, to do comparisons. And so we built this toolkit so that these things was very helpful. So once we got all the programs done, the library was all done. It consists of forms, it consists of item groups, items, control terminology. Then we started building these studies based off of the metadata library and started testing these builds. So we repurposed the existing toolkit to be able to compare. And when I say compare, we know that all of us must be doing the comparison of the NCI control terminology with the existing library terminology, and our tools are helpful to provide that comparison very easily. You can easily find out whether the terms are updated or any new terms have come through. So it's very easy for us to use the metadata to get to that point. We The next one is the aggregation, which is very helpful because if we want to make modifications to our library, we understand how that particular information affects and how many studies that is existing is being affected. So it's very easy for us to get the metadata reports off of it. Also, we make sure that we have some Shire business rules that we make sure that the data is conformed to those rules even during the study build. We also make sure that the library is conformant, so also is the study. And these tools are very helpful and has helped us a lot. Now that I have discussed about how we have the governance model, how we have come up with the evolution of the metadata library and how we are using the library, I want to talk a little bit about the benefits of the metadata library. Our metadata library is system agnostic, which is basically ODM based, and we have found that it's very easy for us, and it's a single source, and it's easily distributed to everyone, and it's a single source. This is very important because as your companies are larger, it helps you to communicate better. The second thing we have found is the technology we use is just not one. We have been able to use SAS, XML, Java. We are trying to see that our team just doesn't have to have only SAS, or our team has to have complete all these different new technologies because they should be proficient in XML, in SAS, as well as in Java, so that it broadens our requirements to have team members have different various things. The last but not the least is the collaboration. We make sure that we involve all the functional groups much early in the process of the study build, and it helps us to make sure that the expectations are set much earlier on. The other important thing is because we all work with external vendors, and this helps us to also make sure that we have a very good relationship with them. We know what we want to expect and what we will get. And as Walt Disney once said, if you can dream it, you can do it. And so we are in that position right now, and we are very happy about it. Thank you very much.